Hello, it's me, David from Proof Labs, and it's another video. Think Games, and this week the game is Proteus, which someone on Twitter asked me to play. I can't remember his name right now. I'll put it up on the screen on the videos. But Proteus is one of those really strange indie games where you wonder if you're playing a game. Is it more of just a somewhat interactive artistic experience? And that's kind of what I want to talk about, because I know the notion that games are art is something that has been debated for a very long time with much controversy. But I just wanted to sum up what I've read and what I've researched about the subject, so that I can present it to you with my opinion and all the facts, so that you can make your own opinion. So the first thing that I just want to do on this subject is just define what art is in a dictionary, because for a lot of sort of fine artists that do these fancy paintings, they generally don't agree with the notion that games are art, because they say that art has no use. It's simply there to be appreciated and interpreted, and nothing else. Now, the Google Dictionary says that art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture. Now, if we go back to the original sentence there, the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Now, personally, the amount of work that goes into making games, and I'm not even going to say making games, designing games, is an expression of human creative skill and imagination. I can tell you that. And let me think about this now. A lot of people say that the actual the gameplay of a game is not art, because it's interactive and you know okay, I'm not speaking myself very well here, but it's a difficult subject. But I can tell you that the actual design of the mechanics of the gameplay get a lot of effort. They're designed with huge amounts of effort and expressions of creative skill to come up with the design. So you can argue that that is art. But let's say maybe it's design, maybe it's not art. Maybe it is just design. So if we look up design on Google, it says here a plan or drawing produced to show the look and functionality or workings of a building. So that's not very useful. So I did some other research onto the differences between art and design. And this webpage here, which I'll link below, says good art inspires and good design motivates. Now, however clear-cut that is, it's overly simplified in my opinion, because games like Proteus do inspire. But then again, we can wonder, is Proteus actually a game? Because there's no objective. And that's actually another whole discussion that I'm gonna make another video next week for, because we can just go on about this fact of is something a game. So next week we'll talk about is Proteus and games like Minecraft actually games. But if we take something like Call of Duty, which has very clear-cut objectives and gameplay mechanics, I think let me think about this. I think games as a whole are not fine art in what we consider to be art, like paintings and sculptures. Because if you look up fine art in Google, it says here creative art, especially visual art, whose products are to be appreciated primarily or solely for their imaginative, aesthetic, or intellectual properties. Now, that's an interesting statement, because that is what fine artists consider art as a whole to be. But in my opinion, art contains more than just something to be appreciated solely for its aesthetics, or you know what I mean. So I think art contains everything else. However, if we are to take art in the sense that it's generally believed to be, which is something that evokes emotion and has no other use than looking good for you to appreciate, then we can say that games are not art. However, they contain art, or at least in my opinion they contain art, and I think most people would agree with me with that statement, that they contain art, because obviously the models, the sound, the levels and everything is done by artists that are hired as artists, and they can be appreciated as art. But I don't know if we can consider the entire game as art. Like, for example, have you ever considered chess art? Probably not. However, it's a game. It has the same properties as a conventional game would. So I think as well, the reason video games anyways, have this artistic context, someone pointed out that is not that's not a part of the game. It's just an added extra. But in my personal opinion, context for games is extremely important. Like, for example, if you take little girls playing when they're 5 years old, they invent games like one of them is the mom and one of them is the dad, and then they have a child, or they do tea parties. Now, that's playing. That's a game. They have an objective they've devised themselves, and they're carrying out that objective. But it has context. So when they're playing Tea Party, the context is that it is a tea party, and that context gives it meaning that they use to be able to play it. And this is why I think a lot of games have context. In fact, most games these days do have context, and you can interpret that even the most simple games like Pong have context, because Pong is analogous with ping pong, which is a sports game, a game in which, again, the context is difficult to interpret in this case. However, there is context there. It's a very interesting debate that I can go on with, but I really would like to hear your opinions. If you can put them in the comments, or post a video response if you so desire. Also, this show that I'm doing about games, please post suggestions about future shows on Twitter at Peripheral Labs, or on the comments below. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's a very difficult discussion with so many different angles. But my opinion is that games are not art, but contain art. And in that I mean art as the conventional sense of the word, as something that has no use. However, art can sometimes contain other stuff. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.